We start the day's other headlines in Lebanon. The Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah has chosen the cleric Naim Qassem as its new leader. He's been acting head since the previous longtime leader, Hassan Nasrallah, was assassinated in an Israeli airstrike last month. The 71-year-old Qassem has served among the group's top ranks since the early 1990s. Today, Israel's defense minister responded with an apparent threat, writing on social media that he's a, quote, temporary appointment, not for long. The announcement comes after Israeli airstrikes killed at least 60 people across Lebanon's Bekaa Valley. And today, a Hezbollah rocket struck a neighborhood in northern Israel, killing one person. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky warned today that Russia's planned use of North Korean troops on the front lines would push the war beyond the borders of Ukraine and Russia. Zelensky also said he spoke with South Korea's president, and the two agreed to boost cooperation and intelligence sharing. The Pentagon says North Korea sent close to 10,000 troops to train in eastern Russia with a plan to move them to the front line in the next several weeks.
A portion of those soldiers have already moved closer to Ukraine towards Russia's Kursk Oblast, near the border with Ukraine, approximately a couple thousand, with a smaller number already present in the Kursk region. The rest at this time, of course, training out in the east, but fully expect that they'll move in that direction at some point.
Russia, meanwhile, raised tensions even further today by launching a massive simulation of the country's nuclear capabilities. President Vladimir Putin has frequently hinted at the use of nuclear force to deter Western support for Ukraine. And Russia continued its very real air assault on Ukraine. Overnight bombing killed at least 4 people and flattened a neighborhood near Kharkiv. In the UK, a teenage murder suspect has been charged with producing a poison and a terror offense months after a stabbing rampage that killed 3 young girls. The alleged attack happened this summer at a children's dance class at a community center in northwest England. During a search of the 18-year-old's home, authorities found an al-Qaeda training manual on his computer, resulting in the terrorism charge. They also discovered one of the deadliest toxins in the world.
Axel Rudikabana already faces 3 charges of murder, 10 charges of attempted murder, and 1 charge of possession of a knife. Searches of Axel Rudikabana's home address resulted in an unknown substance being found. Testing confirmed the substance as ricin.
Police have resisted classifying the attack itself as a terrorist incident because the suspect's motive is still unclear. Back here at home, Steve Bannon was released from federal prison early this morning. Donald Trump's longtime ally posted on social media the moment he walked free from a correctional facility in Connecticut. Bannon served a 4-month sentence for defying a subpoena in the congressional probe into the January 6th Capitol attack. Within hours of his release, he was back on his podcast, which has been a platform for 2020 election deniers and conspiracy theories. Bannon also held a news conference in New York where he said he felt empowered by his time in prison to help Trump win. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s name will remain on presidential ballots in the critical swing states of Wisconsin and Michigan after the U.S. Supreme Court rejected his request for an injunction late today. The independent candidate suspended his campaign in August and endorsed former President Donald Trump. The states had argued that removing his name so close to the election and with early voting already underway would be impossible. The justices did not explain their reasoning for rejecting the appeal. President Biden is awarding nearly $3 billion to reduce air pollution from the nation's ports. Speaking from the recently reopened Port of Baltimore, Mr. Biden announced grants that would upgrade port infrastructure with climate-friendly equipment at 55 sites across 27 states and territories. He said it wasn't just a matter of modernization, but of safety.
Ports are the linchpin to America's supply chain. They keep goods moving, keep the economy strong. But for too long, they've run on fossil fuels and aging infrastructure, putting workers at risk and exposing nearby communities to dangerous pollution.
Biden also made clear these investments will go toward machinery that's, quote, operated and maintained by people, not by robots. The sites support about 40,000 union jobs in an industry that's worried about the impact of artificial intelligence and automation. On Wall Street today, stocks ended mixed amid a busy week for corporate earnings. The Dow Jones Industrial Average slid about 150 points on the day. The Nasdaq went in the other direction, adding nearly 150 points. The S&P 500 tacked on nearly 10 points, so a small gain there. And we have a passing of note. Actress Teri Garr has died. She starred in some of the best-loved comedies of the 1970s and 80s, including as the German lab assistant in the Mel Brooks classic Young Frankenstein.
Would you like to have a roll in the hay? Roll in the hay.
She also played Dustin Hoffman's girlfriend in Tootsie, which earned her an Oscar nomination. And Garr took on more serious roles in films such as Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
No! Oh, it's me! I didn't want to make any noise! Then don't break in!
Later in her career, she was known to millions for playing the long-lost mother to Lisa Kudrow's character in Friends. Her publicist says Garr died of multiple sclerosis, surrounded by family and friends. Teri Garr was 79 years old. Still to come on the NewsHour, we examine the contrasts between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump's education policies. Southeast Georgia becomes a focal point for both campaigns in the critical swing state. And the story of a child abuse victim who was forced to collect her own evidence to prove she wasn't lying.